If you want to watch every episode of the Stop and Go F1 Retro Review of 1982, become a Mansell Mustache member right now. It's the 23rd of January 1982. Bucks Fizz are number one with The Land of Make-Believe. On Golden Pond is the number one film in the world. And there have been 3 separate plane crashes across the last 10 days, killing a total of 155 people. A bit of a somber note to start the retro review on. But I guess we start as we mean to go on. Welcome to the Stop and Go F1 Retro Review of 1982. And I would be welcoming you to the South African Grand Prix today, but unfortunately it looks like it's not going to go ahead because the drivers have decided to go on strike. Now, more on that in just a little bit, but as we need to fill quite a bit of time here because there is no race, I guess I can just talk you through the teams and the drivers for the season, if the season ever does in fact start. Starting with Tyrrell. Now, Tyrrell in 1981 had their worst season ever, finishing 10th in the Constructors and now going 3 years without a win. Their best result came from Eddie Cheever in the British Grand Prix, finishing 4th, but he has now left and joined the Ligier team. He has been replaced by ABBA's drummer, Slim Borgard, but they have retained the services of Michele Alboreto, who stays on for another year at the team. Up next is Alfa Romeo, who finished quite strongly last year with a podium for Bruno Giacomelli at the Caesars Palace Grand Prix. Now, Giacomelli has stayed with the team, but 1978 world champion Mario Andretti has decided to call it a day on his Formula One career. But have no fear, Alfa Romeo fans, because the team has gone to a driver who not only do I feel is an equal to Mario Andretti, but I think will go on to far overshadow all of Andretti's motorsports achievements. It is the amazing Andrea De Cesaris!
The amazing Andrea De Cesaris!
Now, thankfully for Alfa Romeo, he was available because McLaren have made the biggest mistake in the history of their team. They have decided to drop the amazing one for an old-timer who you may have heard of before if you're into niche Formula One drivers. His name is Niki Lauda. Now, we'll talk more about Lauda later on, but this guy retired from Formula One a few years ago, has decided to try and give it another go, but, you know, it's the time of the youth. It's the time of the amazing Andrea De Cesaris, and I'll make one prediction right here, right now, as a respected reporter. McLaren will never achieve any kind of championship success with Niki Lauda in their car, whereas Alfa Romeo and the amazing Andrea De Cesaris most definitely will. Many people are calling the amazing Andrea De Cesaris the next Juan Manuel Fangio, and we shall see it all here this season in 1982, the year of De Cesaris for sure. Across to the Arrows team now, and they had slowly been making their way up the championship. They were 10th, then they were 9th, then they were 7th, although last year they did take a little bit of a step back. Despite claiming their first ever pole position, thanks to Riccardo Patrese, they finished the year in 8th in the Constructors. And to make matters worse, Patrese has now left the team and joined Brabham. On top of this, their other driver, Siegfried Stohr, has also just retired from motorsport in general, leaving the Arrows team without any drivers. So they've hired Mauro Baldi and Mark Schorer as their 2 drivers for this year. But during a pre-season test, Schorer has broken both of his feet. So they've now brought in Patrick Tambay to be the driver for the team. But as I said before, the drivers have just gone on strike. So Arrows, being an adult organisation ran by adults, have decided now to fire Patrick Tambay. See you later, Tambay. There's no chance you get a better drive in 1982 than an Arrows car. Goodbye. he's gone. So Arrows have now gone to Brian Henton, who is their new driver. So the season hasn't even started yet, and Arrows are on their 4th driver. Either way, both of them have failed to qualify. Across to Colin Chapman's Lotus team, who spent most of last year just trying to get their car to be legal, and a lot of the time not doing that. But this year, they have brought new aims of having a legal car. Alongside this, they have kept their driver lineup of Elio De Angelis and Britain's sexiest man, Nigel Mansell. And across to McLaren now, who over the last few years have been sort of a midfield team. They took their first win in 4 years thanks to John Watson at the British Grand Prix last year, and he has stayed with the team, but as previously mentioned, the amazing Andrea de Cesaris is no longer with the McLaren team after being replaced by 2-time Formula One World Champion Niki Lauda. Lauda has been out of the sport since 1979 and now joining the McLaren team, the exact same team who denied him the World Championship in 1976 alongside James Hunt. It is a huge move for both McLaren and Lauda, Lauda looking to kind of regain some kind of former glory, but so are McLaren. Despite the fact that Lauda hasn't been in Formula One since 1979 and even then had an awful season with Brabham, Niki Lauda has still got more F1 race wins than the McLaren team over the last 5 years. So both McLaren and Lauda looking for something to prove. Ferrari are next. After their worst ever season in 1980, things did improve in 1981 thanks to 2 wins from Gilles Villeneuve in both Monaco and Spain. Ferrari have kept their driver lineup of Villeneuve and Didier Pironi and are incredibly confident going into 1982 that they think they have a car that can deliver a world championship back to Ferrari. Ligier are next, and they had their lowest constructors finish of the last 3 years, despite only finishing in 4th place, thanks to 2 wins from Jacques Lafitte. Jacques Lafitte, who of course was also in the championship hunt all the way until the final race of the year. He stays with the Ligier team and is joined by Eddie Cheever. And next let's talk about Renault. Renault, who finished 3rd in the Constructors' Championship last year, but I can't help but feel that they would have been rather disappointed with that. Alain Prost took multiple wins for them last season, but also retired from the lead of the race multiple times. There were 2 races where Prost retired from the lead of the race, and if he had been able to have the reliability there to finish those races, he would have picked up an additional 18 points and would have been the 1981 Formula One World Champion. Renault have brought a B version of their car to this season, hoping to improve that reliability, and their driver lineup does stay the same as it was last year with Alain Prost and René Arnoux. Brabham are next, and they gave Nelson Piquet his first ever World Championship last year, alongside 3 race wins, ultimately winning the title by just 1 point. Brabham having a Drivers' World Champion for the first time in 14 years. Despite winning the Drivers' title, they did miss out on the Constructors' Championship to the Williams team, mostly due to their second driver, Hector Rabac, who scored 11 points all season. So to try and address this, they have got rid of Rabac and replaced him with Riccardo Patrese from the Arrows team. That's not the only change for Brabham though, as they have brought in new BMW engines. It's the first time there's been a BMW engine on the Formula One grid since 1968, and with this and their new driver lineup, Brabham are looking to claim not only the drivers, but the Constructors' title for 1982. And finally, the Williams team are reigning Constructors' champions. Now, after the last race of the last season, Alan Jones retired from Formula One in winning style, winning the Caesars Palace Grand Prix. And his teammate Carlos Reutemann, who missed out on the driver's title in that last race, also announced that he would retire from the sport as well, although he later changed his mind and is on the grid today. Alongside him will be Finnish driver Keke Rosberg. Now, this is his 5th season in Formula One, but up until now has only scored points twice. So this is a huge jump up for him. So it'll be interesting to see if he can match the pace of the much more experienced Carlos Reutemann, but there is one thing on his side for him: he has got a marvellous moustache. Now, I would love to get on to some lovely Formula One action, but unfortunately we can't, because we have to discuss politics. Ugh. As I said, Niki Lauda has returned to the sport, and upon returning, he had to sign a contract to get his super license. Now, what he did, which no other Formula One driver in the history of the Earth has done, is he read the contract before he signed it. Within that contract, there were a couple paragraphs that Niki Lauda did not like. Firstly, it said that a driver would be exclusive to one team. So if a driver wanted to change teams mid-season, they would risk voiding their super license and not being able to race. It also said that the drivers could not say or do anything that would harm Formula One or the Formula One governing bodies. Niki Lauda contacted the head of the Grand Prix Drivers Association, Didier Pironi, and organised a strike. On Thursday morning, a bus arrived here and took the drivers to the Sunnyside Hotel, which sounds lovely. This is where Didier Pironi would go out and negotiate with the FIA to get new contracts in place. But the drivers have been told that if the strike went ahead, they would all receive lifetime bans from Formula One. On Friday morning, Brabham boss Bernie Ecclestone made a public announcement that both world champion Nelson Piquet and new driver Riccardo Patrese had both been fired. Then it was announced that practice had been delayed by an hour, as there was still no drivers to practice with. And not long after that, both Pironi and Lauda both publicly announced that they had won their negotiations, and the drivers had got what they wanted, while the team bosses said that the negotiations had just simply taken a freeze. So all the drivers have now returned to the grid, including both Brabham drivers who have been unfired. Although Bernie Ecclestone did make Nelson Piquet undergo a medical before he unfired him. Now with all that out of the way, we can actually do some racing. It's time for the South African Grand Prix of 1982! Let's take a look at our grid for this race. René Arnoux is on pole position in the Renault for the 10th time in his career. Reigning champion Nelson Piquet is alongside him with Ferrari's Gilles Villeneuve in third. It's Piquet's new Brabham teammate Patrese in fourth. It's an all-French third row with Prost and Pironi. Then all Williams fourth row with Keke Rosberg beating his more experienced teammates Carlos Reutemann. The first McLaren is in ninth for John Watson, while Niki Lauda's return starts from 13th place on the grid. And with that, we go to Murray Walker to take us through the start of this race.
René Arnoux in pole position. There is Nelson Piquet.
Wait a minute. Who the hell is this guy? This isn't Murray Walker. Who the hell is this? Well, I guess we're handing over to not Murray Walker now to take us through the start of this race.
The red lights are on. Any moment now they'll switch to green and the cars are away. Arnoux makes a brilliant start. Piquet is left standing, but Arnoux goes well. He's followed by Prost. The two Ferraris are there. Keke Rosberg is also going well in the Williams. My goodness me, that was an exciting start, but certainly one full of drama for Piquet as he was swallowed up by the rest of the pack. And they now surge through the first right-hander, Crowthorne Corner. We can see now that it's René Arnoux and Alain Prost. 1-2 for Renault. Car number 16 leading number 15. Then the two Ferraris and then Rosberg in the first of the Williams. It's interesting that Rosberg, in a normally aspirated car, should be in fifth place at this moment in time.
Someone we haven't spoken about yet is Jean-Pierre Jarier, who is just not in those top 10 teams. He's in one of the more backmarker teams, really. But you never know when someone's going to just make a great drive from one of those teams and really shock us on the grid. So let's just check in on Jarier and see how he's doing.
And there is Jean-Pierre Jarier in the Acela, getting out of his car. Happily, it looks as though he's okay, but the car looks to be somewhat second-hand as it's gone through 3 layers of catch fencing, and the ever-present marshals are there to assist him off the circuit.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, something else to notice here. Just a little commentary note from me to not Murray Walker is he's pronouncing Alain Prost's name as Alain Prost, as in Prost to rhyme with roast. Now I always say Alain Prost to rhyme with help me, I've wandered into the forest and I've got lost. it rhymes with that. That's how I personally remember it anyway. I don't know if that's how you do it, but that's just my little method there. Just a little tip, reporter to commentator. Let's check in, though, with our reigning world champion, Nelson Piquet. Let's see how he's doing.
In South Africa, and drama indeed, and that I believe, yes, it's Nelson Piquet, the reigning world champion, has slammed through some layers of catch fencing into the Armco, but I believe something must have broken. It would be unlike Nelson to make an error, and so the Brabham driver is out of the race, and very frustrated he will be.
Oh dear, okay, all right. Let's go to the Ferrari of Gilles Villeneuve and see how he is doing. He's closing in on Carlos Reutemann.
Arnoux leading, Prost second in ninth, and a big cloud of smoke goes up, and that is drama for Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari. The Quebecois driver is out of the race, and other drivers struggle to see through the clouds of smoke in order to find their way past the Ferrari driver. And there is Villeneuve. He's still going, but at a very, very slow pace. You can see smoke pouring from the engine. He will be trying to get the car back into the pits. It's the 7th lap of this Kyalami Grand Prix. Gilles Villeneuve is out, and you can see the car streaming past him in the background.
Well, with all that drama, that actually leaves both Brabham and Ferrari with only one car in this race, and both cars are driven by the driver you wouldn't be too rude to call the second driver, not the one the teams would be expecting to be leading them in this race. Let's check in on Riccardo Patrese in his Brabham, his first race for the Brabham.
Alain Prost is sitting in there comfortably, and more drama for Brabham, because sadly it looks as though the Riccardo Patrese car, number 2, is coming into the pits. Yes, there he goes. A very slow entry. What is it? Tyre trouble, engine trouble, and the fact that Patrese snatches off the emergency oxygen supply from his helmet indicates that his race is run. He's stopping there, and I think it will be a very unhappy Brabham pit crew that discuss the problems with Patrese. There's no frenzied activity, a surefire indication that his race is run.
Well, Bernie Eccleston might as well have just fired them, to be honest, because they've got the exact same amount of points if they were fired or not. It's a big 0 for the Brabham team for the start of 1982. But at least Ferrari have still got their one driver in this race and doing very well, getting some good points.
Didier Pironi scythes past him and continues on his way. No, he doesn't. He's into the pits. Amazing. Didier Pironi into the pits. Now, just how serious is this? It's a tyre problem. The Ferrari, wearing Goodyear tyres at the moment, has a complete four-wheel change, and it looks as though this is a quick one. Didier Pironi sitting there, a quick conversation with Mauro Forghieri, the team manager. A little bit of trouble on this rear tyre, this side. Otherwise, that would have been a very, very quick pit stop indeed. Yes, the mechanics come round to change the pneumatic equipment, but they don't. Down it goes, and Pironi rejoins the race. He will have lost at least a lap, I would think, as he comes out onto the circuit once more.
We've reached the halfway point of this race now, and there was a bit of a thing over the break about how F1 is maybe a bit boring to some people. So we've decided to do something new, and at the halfway point, we're going to do a live stunt show. This week brought to you by the drummer from ABBA, Slim Borgard.
And now, drama for the Tyrrell of Slim Borgard, and I've just realised he's pointing the wrong way. And you can see in the background an occasional flash as drivers go past in the opposite direction. He's obviously had a 180-degree spin. He seems to be having problems with his gearbox, but he really should not be driving in the wrong direction down the circuit. Well, and now he's going in reverse. This is extraordinary. He's now, I think, probably trying to get in a better position to do a U-turn. Yes, he's poised. He's now reversing back, and he goes across. He stopped again right in the middle. Oh dear, I'm not sure that this will be popular with other drivers. He gets it going again, and you can see 1, 2 cars going past Borgud very quickly. So that really was quite a dicey manoeuvre. There goes number 22, Andrea De Cesaris.
So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that half-time performance there. We endeavour to give you great Formula One entertainment from here on out to really entertain you. We'll make sure to show everything we possibly can. Every important overtake of this race you will see. For example, Alain Prost is chasing down René Arnoux right now for the lead of this race. If that overtake was to happen, we would definitely show it to you. We 100% would not miss it.
Here we have the position after 40 laps. Alain Prost is leading. Alain Prost has taken his teammate. He's in the lead from René Arnoux. We've not seen much of the leading Renault cars in the last few moments because of the dramas in the race, but now he's leading.
Okay, we did miss it. We did miss it. We hold our hands up there. We missed that. But we can promise great commentary from not Murray Walker, because it's time for the commentary highlight of the week.
Is the 26-year-old Frenchman who comes from Saint-Chamond in France. He really is having a fine start to the season, but no, he's not. He is slowing dramatically, and you can see cars going past him now. Let's look at the car carefully to see if we can see what the problem is. As Prost comes through, the car looks decidedly unstable. I think, yes, the front end there, the wheel rises in the air, and that indicates to me that he's got major problems. I think he's probably got a puncture in the rear tyre.
So that's Prost into the pits now, and what's this? One of the mechanics thinks it's an appropriate time for a game of Guess the Helmet. What are you doing, man? This is not the time or the place. So despite all of this, Prost is still in this race, although he's now in 8th and a lap down. But we can see here, René Arnoux is letting him through to unlap himself and try and charge back through the field. I am sure that will not come back and bite Arnoux in the arse in any way. Now let's talk about Jacques Laffite, an incredibly strong end to the year last year which brought him back into the championship. If he'd had a strong start to the year, there's no doubt in my mind that he would have been the Formula One World Champion. Can he start this year strongly?
And now Laffite back into the pits. Jacques Laffite having a very unhappy race. And you can see he's getting out of the car. I can't see what the problem is, but Laffite is out of the car. His race is run.
No, he can't. Okay. Well, it's now time for the most pointless leaderboard of all time. It says here that Arnoux is first, which he is. Then it says Reutemann is second. Reutemann is actually fourth. Then you have Peroni in third, but he's actually second. Rosberg in fourth, he's actually fifth. Then Watson in fifth, but he's actually sixth. Then Prost in sixth, but he's actually third. But I do get the feeling that he won't actually be there for long.
And that is Prost, who has moved ahead. This is quite startling. He's moved ahead of Didier Pironi in the Ferrari. So that just is an indication of the performance here. Alain Prost up into second place. Now only his teammate René Arnoux to haul in to win this South African Grand Prix of 1982.
So that's Pironi now down to third place, but, you know, I don't think it can get any worse for him.
And that is to Pironi. Oh dear. Ferrari are not having the best of good luck today. Didier Pironi going very slowly. I thought he was headed for the pits. Now that's extraordinary, because Didier Pironi is coming very slowly down the straight. He's overtaken the pit road, either deliberately or not, I don't know.
Now, you know, just reminiscing here. Do you remember that time before when we missed the move of Prost overtaking René Arnoux for the lead of the race? That was foolish on our behalf. We definitely wouldn't do it twice.
And whilst all this action has been going on, Alain Prost, 26-year-old Frenchman, has retaken the lead in this race after the most amazing and dramatic race up through the field.
So despite having a puncture, Alain Prost is back leading this race. Now, something very interesting is happening here, and something rather reminiscent of what happened last year at the Caesars Palace Grand Prix for Alain Prost. he started on one set of tyres, he pushed those tyres really hard, got into a really good position, then at the midway point he pit, changed his tyres for new tyres, then pushed them really hard all the way into the end of the race. Now this time of course it wasn't his choice to do that, he had a puncture, he had to change them. But it's just an interesting thing. It's like a strategy with tyres. Personally, I don't think it will ever catch on. I think, quite frankly, it's the work of the devil. But it is very interesting to discuss. Some kind of strategy that's tyre-based for racing. I can't put my finger quite on it. I don't think it'll ever catch on. We might as well move on. Now, we have missed Rene Arnoux losing the lead twice, but he's in a solid second place right now, and I guarantee if he was to lose that second place, we definitely would not miss it.
Against his teammate Rene Arnoux. There now is Carlos Reutemann. Reutemann now has moved up into second place ahead of Rene Arnoux.
Okay, we missed it again. Why does the cameraman hate Rene Arnoux? So, as we cross the line, it is Alain Prost who wins the South African Grand Prix, and with that takes the championship lead for the first time in his career. Carlos Reutemann comes home in second place to make a good start for his championship campaign. Rene Arnoux makes it a double podium for the Renault team. Niki Lauda gets 3 points on his return to now be just 1 point behind his entire haul in 1979. Keke Rosberg comes home in 5th on debut for the Williams team, and John Watson takes the final points position in 6th. And we will see you next time for the Brazilian Grand Prix of 1982.